Welcome back to Show Me What I've Been Missing, your pop culture podcast that says, hey, look at that thing. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth Stanton, and with me is our other host.
Chris Mack, what's up, guys?
And we are working our way through Sex into the City.
Sex in the City,
Sex in
baby.
the City. We are in the middle of season 4, with season 4, episode 8. My motherboard, myself. Chris has not really seen any of these episodes in their entirety. I've seen them too many times. I said this right before we started recording. This is hands down, I think, possibly my favorite episode in the entire series.
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
I just think there's a lot going on, and I think it's one of the best deliveries of their little their metaphors are not subtle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it all on theme works. I think it's just a really good Carrie Aiden episode where I kind of get them a little more. I think the comic relief with Samantha and Charlotte, mostly, to be honest, works. I think it's a sad episode for Miranda, but it's a good one for her, sort of emotionally as a character.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't always love when comedies do serious, stuff, and but I think this really nicely balances the serious element, and it's an episode I think a lot of people like too because it genuinely focuses on their friendship, the four of them, so much. And this is the kind of episode where people are it's about friendship, it's about the four women. This is a great example of that.
I was actually thinking that this episode was it showed the dynamic. It showed that they were actually friends. All four of them are actually friends. It's not where it's Miranda, Samantha, and Carrie are friends, and then Charlotte's kind of there. They all clearly are they develop a relationship now. They're actually all friends, and they need each other.
And exactly. And so it's what makes and to me it's everything's firing kind of on all cylinders, the humor, the friendship, the relationship storylines, and all that good stuff. And so I think it's fun. Or not. It's fun. It's a good episode. It's just a really nicely balanced episode. That because and it's one that's unsurprisingly gets played on TV a lot because there is sex, but you can cut around it pretty easily. And it's just I just like it. I like it, and I like the friendship stuff at the end. In particular, I think, like you said, it's where you believe that they're all four of them. Friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So, whom should we start with?
I mean, the whole episode.
They all kind of intersect in
ways. The big story is Miranda's story.
Yeah. So we'll start there and plug in the periphery as it goes. So
go for
it. They're finally catching up. They finally get lunch together and everything. Yep. They catch up and all that stuff's going well, and then Carrie calls. Well, let's start with Carrie. We'll jump around.
I do have one quick question though, because so the big lunch that they were at in the park and whatnot, is that a real thing?
I don't know. It was just a crowded. I think the thrust of it was that they were all very busy or had been very busy, and it was the first time they'd been able to catch up and have lunch. And places are busy, and it was sort of the most convenient thing to do was to grab an outdoor lunch together.
Oh, okay. So the way that Carrie was kind of describing it, she was kind of describing it everybody that was in the park was it's business people of Manhattan, and there was just this big lunch of
I don't think it was any particular thing. I think it was just park super busy, and then so they make some joke about not being able to get a table, and it's it's just because the park's crowded. It's not because you're not hip. You're at a major city. Park's busy. What do you want?
Right. It's just crazy. Has a park ever been that busy? I'm not from New York, so but
Central Park. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Probably at lunchtime. It's probably
it's spring.
True.
Fun fact. I think I don't know if I brought this up before, but I did see something that kind of explained it's sort of perpetually spring on the show. If you notice, there's not a
It
lot
kind of is, right? It's the only time it wasn't was
it.
like when Carrie was seeing the politician, it was winter at the time, but it wasn't snowing.
Yeah, no, but they said they intentionally did that because they didn't want to do tons of holiday stuff, like get into Christmas and all that. And summer it's too hot. Obviously, fall is it's kind of spring fall in a way, like perpetually. And spring's just a pretty time in the city, you know, things are blooming. It's nice weather.
In New York, they don't call it fall; it's autumn. Okay,
whatever.
There's no fall in New York; it's just autumn. Okay.
So they catch up, and Samantha gets a flyer about 1,001 positions for sex that will be important later, believe it or not.
First of all, way too many. I'm sorry. I know people like to have sex, but if you need that many positions, like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, sorry, my cat's
1,001.
Chew cords, buddy. No death wishes today. Come on. Anywho,
let them get it. Sometimes that's the only way they learn. You just gotta get a little
learn the hard way. So Carrie talks about she's exchanged keys with Aiden, and that's like a big step. It's big. Never did that with her.
Yeah, no, she's like, that's big. He's like, actually, it's opposite of big. I was like, solid joke. Solid.
So she comes home and she finds Aiden cooking to the oldies. Super hot. I love it. I was like, yeah, Aiden is a good dude. God damn it. And he's using a George Foreman grill, which is the funniest.
It's kind of cute.
It's
like the whitest thing you could do. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna make fajitas on a George Foreman grill. Easy there, guy.
Have you ever seen? There's like a TikTok. I forget its origins, but the someone singing this little song that just goes, "White people taco night. You get taco shells from the grocery store and ground beef from the grocery store," and just like, just ripping on like white people taco night, which I know I make fajitas myself, but
listen. I make fun of it too, but sometimes you need a gringo taco. Like sometimes that's like the one that hits. You need the fucking the Taco Bell seasoning from the store, the ground beef, and the bullshit ass, you know what I'm saying, corn flour, the hard shells, and some cheese on top. Like sometimes that's the one that hits. That's like what your body, like you say you want tacos, but like that's the taco you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want to see that little red grease come down your arm, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The red grease, baby.
And they do hook up in the kitchen because she was like, "I'm gonna give you a handy for cooking in this kitchen," and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna let the dinner burn in the George Foreman grill. Hell yeah." But then I love she's writing and Aiden comes and like starts reading the article over her shoulder.
Yeah, that's because I wrote that down. I was like, I don't care what I'm doing. Don't read over my shoulder. That's a violation, bro. Like I don't need, because like, dude, I didn't realize I had such a peeve for that, because like even as a kid, sometimes like my mom would be reading on my shoulders like that when I'm like IMing people, and I guess I maybe felt something then, but never noticed it. But I knew I really did. So I didn't like it. It was like when I was in the Marines and we'd be like overseas, and sometimes we have a little downtime and like be on the computer or whatever, like talk to people, and like my buddies would come up reading over my shoulder my message. I'm like, what are you doing? Like I'm it's a message to my family, to my girl at the time. Like, what are you? And then I realized, oh, I don't like people looking over my goddamn shoulder. That's a violation of my privacy.
Huge violation.
Yeah. Huge.
So Carrie obviously like panics, and then her computer crashes, and Aiden tries to do like a Control-Alt-Delete thing, but she has a Mac, and so it doesn't work, and they have to go to the like, emergency computer store, and it's Asif Manvi from The Daily Show, he's acted in a bunch of other stuff. I was early role for him. Fun little surprise. So
she was like super pissed at him for like.
Well, I'm sorry. Sometimes guys think they can fix shit and they don't know what they're doing.
Fair.
And then they keep insisting that they were right, and it's like, you broke it worse. If you had just listened to me when I said, please stop doing what you're doing, let's go get it taken care of. But guys have a tendency to be like, no, I can fix it. And Mr. Handyman there on the show.
I mean, he is a carpenter. Like, he literally fixes things for a living.
Carpenter, not a fucking computer guy.
Hey, if he can cook on a George Foreman, all right, he can figure out a laptop, all right.
No. Just absolutely not.
No, I feel that because I'm the same way sometimes. It's like, dude, I don't need your help. Just stop.
Yeah.
Don't touch anything. You're making it worse. And he did, in a way, make it worse.
Sometimes you don't need solutions.
However, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So they go and they're like, and the guy and the Asif Manvi is like, you're not compatible. He's a PC guy. She's got a Mac. Haha, get it? Do you get it? Do you get the metaphor? You guys got it? Is it clear? That they're not compatible. It's 2 different operating systems. It's really like, it's cute because it's computers, but it's them.
Right.
The show is not subtle, but still, I think this just
not in this episode.
It's just done. It's lampshaded just the right amount that I don't hate it because I'm like, I get it. They're not compatible.
Well, because I mean, we know how it ultimately ends with them too. So like, clearly they aren't compatible. And I also think I never thought they were compatible to begin with. Like
most people don't. At the end of
he's too good for her.
He's too good for her, and also as even like Samantha in the earlier episodes, like he's very granola. Like their personalities, opposites do attract and stuff like that. But the way they go about things is and to have kind of not a lot of interests overlapping at the end of the day is hard.
Yeah, it's one of they have a relationship where, to me, I feel like it's mostly physical attraction that's keeping them kind of together, you know what I mean? Like I don't really, because like most of the shit that she likes he doesn't, and most of the shit that he likes she doesn't. So like, I mean, really the only thing that they have in common that they like is like spending time together or like having sex together. That's about it.
And believe me, that's gonna play out
interesting. And maybe the bar that he owns, because she likes to go out and have a cocktail.
Out with that fucking bartender, that bitch probably got fired. Feel a little bad, but whatever. But then he asks, when was the last time she backed up her work? And she's like, I don't do that. And I just wrote, what the fuck, Carrie? Where do all your articles go?
But you know what though? Now you gotta remember the time period. People weren't
that's true.
Like that's what I was at first, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, bitch, but then I was like, wait, this is like early 2000s. So laptops were kind of still a new thing, especially like these scale of laptops. And like so for us, we got lucky because we were still in school at the time. And you take a computer out of school where they tell you every 10 to 15 minutes, save. But
they even mean
she's
like
in her 30s, so like ain't nobody telling her save. So like,
and it's also, they mean like backing up beyond just hitting save every so often.
Right.
Which people still don't do to this day.
I know.
Fun fact, all our past episodes are on a external hard drive, just FYI.
I got all the audio and the video saved into a file on a hard drive, or what do you call it?
The
external drives.
So they had to keep
external hard drive, yes.
They had to keep the computer, turn in and do some tests to see if they can recover anything. So Carrie calls Miranda, got my syllables mixed up, to complain about the computer stuff. And even Miranda goes, when was the last time you backed up? And Carrie's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But poor Miranda,
she was so pissed. She's like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah, she's like, how does everybody know this?
Yeah, she's like, why does everybody know this except me? Which I also kind of gotta agree with even Aiden and Miranda, because it's like, you do work in the business of writing and shit like that. You would think somebody would have said something to you by now. Or at least you would have heard of backing up your computer.
Yeah, like she says offhand she has her own system. Part of me thought maybe it's like she only likes hard copies of things, which I get. That's very her, is like, I only want the physical copy of something. But I don't think she has a home printer. Never seems like she does in that setup. So is she just like relying on her paper to print articles for her, and then she'll archive them that way? Or does she just not even like save any of her shit? Like, professional writers and journalists save a lot of things. I have shit. I'm not like a professional writer or whatever, but like I have like idea notebooks and things still saved from ages ago, and other like printout and all sorts of shit. I even have like thumb drive that I just wrote the past on that has material from my earliest jobs here in LA, sort of almost in like a weird well, two reasons. One, kind of in case like I ever need it for maybe like a professional, like, oh, I did like a deck before, you know, like a pitch deck kind of thing. But even that, I think they're pretty outdated at this point. I'd need to do something new. And two, for legal purposes, because I worked for an insane person who threatened to sue me one time over something very stupid, and I've held on to this stuff ever since, just in case it comes up as like
you have to.
an issue. I was like, that guy was fucking Looney Tunes.
Yeah, you never know. I do the same thing. I every dude, all my taxes and shit like that are still backlogged and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I might have filed them and everything came out wrong, but you know, there may be a time where a brother has to be audited, and I want all the evidence.
I want all the situation. But yeah, so Carrie's going off about that, but then it turns out poor Miranda's at the hospital. Her mom had a heart attack, and they don't know the like situation. It seems like she's gonna pull through, and then unfortunately she doesn't. But
kudos to Carrie too, by the way. She did check herself because she was like, you know, going on and on about the laptop thing, and then Miranda said that she was like, "Why are you letting me talk about that?" She actually, so clearly,
Carrie's very self-aware this episode.
In this episode, yeah, because you know, like, but I think it's because of, you know, the past, like, was it 2 episodes ago when you know, she came over with bagels just so she could talk about Aiden, and Miranda called her on her shit. She's like, "Oh, I'm kind of an asshole." Got it. So clearly, it took. Like she soaked that in and realized like, hey, it's not all about me, at least.
And also to her credit, she offers, she's like, do you want me to come
Oh, immediately. She was like, yeah, I'll do anything you want. I'll bring you an outfit.
Because when Miranda's mom dies, the family has to rush back. They're gonna have the funeral in a few days. And Carrie's like, what can I do? Can I bring you anything? Which is like, they say that's like the best, like, it's always nice to offer, and sometimes it's hard to like offer something concrete, and they say that's the best, but sometimes you just don't know what to offer or what to do. But the fact that Miranda's like, I have to go get a black dress here, and she's like, I can go, let me go to your place and bring you something and save you the headache. But poor Miranda's just kind of overwhelmed, I think. And
like, I mean, I get that though, because like, one, you know, she's, you know, one is like, oh, all of a sudden your mom just has a heart attack. There was no like no build up to it, and they say if she was like sick or something like that before. And then secondly, she just like, you go home to get some rest because like the doctors tell you to go home and she's gonna be fine, and then all of a sudden you come back the next morning, they're like, oh, she actually didn't make it. Like, I get that. And also like, it's kind of overwhelming too, because that was the same thing that kind of happened to me, like when my brother passed. Like I was, you know, I knew that he was in bad condition, but as I was in transit of coming there, I didn't bring, you know, funeral clothes, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, oh, you know, I know he's doing bad right now, but like, I'm not going to a funeral. And then, and then like, it turned out I was wrong, and it's like, well, shit. So like that's a lot to like kind of take in all at once. But again, Carrie was actually a very supportive friend in that moment. In these moments. So kudos to her. Still ain't shit, but kudos to her.
She's still ain't shit, but she's a good friend. I guess what it really counts, which is a time like this.
I know.
And Aiden offers, you know, she tells Aiden about it because he's in bed with her, and he offers to go to the funeral. And Carrie kind of turns him down. I don't know if it's supposed to be like she's still angry about the computer thing. It all comes to like a thrust about Carrie wanting to take care of herself, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Well, I think that's what it was like, you know, she ultimately doesn't want, like, because if he came right, then that would be the start of the, not say the avalanche, but it would just be like the start of the journey of her like getting to let him like support her and like starting to like count on that support, and she didn't even want to like open the floodgates to that at all. Let
him in a little more.
And the computer thing was probably just like, you know, it was like a smoke screen to what
it's not really about the computer. Like so many fights, it's not really what the fight's about. But Carrie meets the other girls and tell them what happens, and they're in shock. And you know, they're talking about how Miranda always tries to be so strong and everything like that. And I love Charlotte in this episode. She's in full like planner mode, because now all Charlotte's doing is like redecorating her house, which is a lot of work, you know, managing all that. It's it's easy when you got money. And she's delighted by like becoming a dimmer expert in their house, which is just a dumb little moment, but it's kind of funny.
She really was very pleased with herself. That
she was
like,
delighted.
She was so laughing with herself. She's like, "Ooh, look how I dim the lights.
So
look how I make them brighter."
Charlotte is ready to send flowers, and Samantha's kind of zoned out.
Fruit.
And fruit and stuff, yeah. And Samantha's kind of zoned out at the thought and kind of acting blasé. And it's, you know, I think it's because, you know, when we'll get into it, Samantha's not super in touch with her like emotions that way. So I think she didn't know how to react. And
she just like completely disassociated, basically. Like
yeah,
she literally did. Fucking Charlotte was found off all this stuff. She was like, "Oh yeah, perfect, works, whatever." Like wasn't even really listening. And
like so Charlotte's in full, I called it full Martha Stewart mode.
Oh,
she's putting together flowers and fruit and coordinating them going to the funeral, you know, like catching a train and what they're gonna do, how they're gonna get there. And Samantha's kind of alarmed about going to the funeral. She's like, I don't really know. I don't even know what to say to Miranda. And Charlotte's like, you know, just say you're sorry, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's a little, I think it's, in a way, Samantha kind of knows it's empty if she says those things, you know, like it's what you say. It's not bad or wrong to say it, but like if you're friends, which they are, doing something more meaningful is always better. I don't want to get into super personal details, but I had friends who experienced a loss and was told about it like kind of over a Zoom thing. Yeah. And I couldn't be there physically to talk about it, but I did send a card, and then they texted and said, this card, that thank you for sending the card.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it's like the smallest thing. Yeah, you know what I mean, just to let you know, like you feel something. Yeah. Or you like at least understand. You know what I mean? Like you're not trying to like be, you know, of the person. You're not trying to say, oh, I put myself in your shoes, but just like understand like they're going through something. Yeah, just even like a little acknowledgement, however you do it, is like effective. But instead of calling Miranda, Samantha calls her current hookup in this episode, which is a wrestling coach for like NYU. Yeah. And they're using, remember that sheet of like 1,001 sex positions I mentioned earlier conveniently and told everyone to remember? That comes into play because they do like a bajillion positions. Shout out to everyone for being insanely limber. Wrestling, you gotta be very flexible to be a wrestler if you know anything about it. So it makes a lot of sense. Now Samantha's reasoning, I don't know why, but she's super flexible. But maybe it's just because she's a woman. A lot of women are flexible just for no reason. Yeah. And so she's been having amazing orgasms with this guy and with the positions, but this time nothing happens. No orgasm. Yeah. And it's insane. And so then the next day they're like still dealing with flowers, and Charlotte's, you know, like, I love Charlotte. She's like, tasteful flowers, tasteful. Which I get, because like, you know, sometimes people, you tell them like what the event is for, and then they do like the completely opposite. You're like, oh, this is for a funeral, and they send like I mean, not to, but yeah, but they like towards the end of the episode, she's like asking for like these like great, there's a certain type of flowers, and they send like a fucking arrangement that looks like somebody's about to get ready for senior prom, like or the Kentucky Derby or something. Right? Yeah, it was like fucking gold ribbon and shit for a funeral. Like, what are y'all doing? Anyway, and then, sorry. So then they had this conversation though, because you know Charlotte's all in business mode, and like Samantha admits she's like, I'm not even listening because I lost my orgasm, and I love Carrie, and she goes, in the cab. She did. I thought that was really funny. It's like it's one of the best jokes. Say it as if it was like something that you can go like you buy and keep with you. Yeah, yeah. It's like, I lost my orgasm. Like, what? And Samantha is like so frustrated because she's like, I always orgasm even if I have to do it myself. And she's like, and they try to reassure her, and they're like, yeah, no, like you can still have sex and have fun without an orgasm. She just bullshit. Like, she just glares at them, and they're like, okay. And they're trying to like help her. She said that they were her and her man were having sex for 2 hours. Yeah. With no orgasm. I'm sorry. If I'm having sex for 2 hours and I don't get an orgasm, it ain't worth it. Okay, like, sorry, it ain't worth it at all. Like the effort. And I've been there before because fucking my doctors had me on Zoloft, and that shit like
Oh,
So
yeah.
so like here's the thing, like you can get an erection, but then you don't finish. So like while
Oh,
I was on it, I would be having like these long, 30-minute, 45-minute sex
oh my
sessions
God.
with no payoff. And just imagine the frustration. So I understand where Samantha's coming from. You know what I'm saying? I get it.
Yeah. And then I love, they try to reassure her and help her, like, almost be like, where did you last have one? Like, you lost an item. Like they're talking like position wise.
I know, but Charlotte's like the concerned mom. She's like,
Yeah.
Where'd you see it last time you had it?
Yeah. And then I love, and then Charlotte tells me the story. She's like, I read an article about women who was having orgasms almost nonstop, and then she just permanently lost it, and it never came back. And so I was like, that's the meanest thing you've ever said.
I mean, that is pretty shitty. Let's be honest.
Like, why did she bring it up?
Yeah, why would you even say that? Because like, there's no way that you could have processed that in your brain was like, oh, this will comfort her. Like there's like that doesn't sound like she's worried about not having an orgasm. You're like, well, you could lose it forever. Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I get a paper cut and you're like, oh, yeah, I heard about this guy who had a paper cut and they had to amputate his whole arm. Like,
yeah, he got an infection and the whole thing came off, and you're like, why?
Yeah, that this doesn't comfort me. Yeah, I understand. Like, thank you for letting me know that it's a possibility, but like, maybe don't bring it up in this moment when I'm like losing my brain about it, which Samantha clearly was. She was, very much empathic.
Yeah. So I love a little later, Samantha is literally searching for her orgasm. She's like using vibrators. She's in the tub. She's doing, everything, literally everything. And she can't relax and enjoy it and get the orgasm though. And I love, Charlotte calls her while she's masturbating to do some more coordinated. I just love Samantha. She's like, Charlotte, I'm masturbating. I told you I'd be doing that all day.
And she did. She came into her apartment with determination. She pulled out all the toys,
a drawer
every single one of them. She moved everything off the top of her drawer. Was like, I'm using every single one of these. Some one of these is gonna give me an orgasm. Yeah, and it did not.
Yeah. Now she does not orgasm later in this episode, but she does have an emotional release, which I do want to wait till the end to get to.
Sure.
So we'll backtrack a little and get to poor Miranda, who's obviously just losing her shit in Philadelphia. It's a horrible, hard time. And so she's shopping for a black bra to go with the black dress that she had to buy. And the clerk lady is trying to help. Now, I understand this Lynn is like, this woman is supposed to be nice. She is overly aggressive.
Oh, super cross like boundaries and shit like that. Like, very much, a little bit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, no. You're saying what I'm saying. Like, we're synced up mentally.
Yeah, I wrote that down because like she was just like here's the thing, just on a like a person to person boundaries. Like, she's talking to Miranda. Miranda's like, I'm a whatever
bra size,
whatever bra size, and she's like, no, you're not, and then just like starts measuring her. It's like, first of all, ask me my permission. That's just human decency, just being polite, like just like, hey, may I measure you to make sure if I'm correct? Like, what I mean? And if she declines, then you move the fuck on. Just like keep pushing. This lady had no.
But they're playing it as that like she's motherly, and Miranda's obviously like kind of fighting that, and she goes to try.
Well, apparently her mom was this way, was like pushy kind of.
Yeah, because Miranda goes into the dressing room to try the bra on, and the lady like busts into the dressing room. And Miranda has always been very private and not let her mom in the dressing room. But then that's kind of where
you fired, bro.
Yeah, it's so weird. But Miranda, like unloads on her, and it's like she's yelling at her mom, and that's when she like breaks down and cries and admits that her mom just died. The clerk is very sweet to her, gives her a hug. Yeah. And it turns out to be the right bra size.
It was a sweet moment, but like also
I just think it could have played differently,
Yeah, like don't make her so pushy. Like we get that like she's supposed to be similar to her mom, and then that's why she kind of has like this cathartic, outcry, and then like they have a hug, but like
I will say this is a popular trope of like funeral based like department store freakouts, because the other show I've seen it in at least is Gilmore Girls. There's an episode where the mom's grandma passes away, so like the great grandma basically passes away, and has all these like waspy old lady rules for her funeral, and she wants fresh undergarments for burial. And so the mom character Lorelai's in a department store and like shopping, and that's when she finally has her freak out, and she's like, like talking about how great the grandma was at the end of the day, even though she was like a tough old bird kind of a thing. And then it's like, all right, I'll buy this underwear or whatever. And I was like, that's stupid. No one actually freaks out in a department store like that about funerals. I kind of did, it turned out. So when my grandpa passed away, I had a mostly black dress, but there was some color on it, and I didn't know if that was okay. And so I was like, I should go find a fully black dress to wear, or black pants and a shirt, something like that. And I was tearing through a Macy's and having no luck. And then finally got a hold of my mom, and I was like, is it okay that there's like blue and purple and white on the, like, in the pattern of the dress? It's mostly black and it's dark. And she was like, it's fine. Everyone will be fine. No one is gonna care. It's okay. You don't have to spend money on a new thing. Your grandpa will not be upset. And I was like, okay. So I didn't freak out at a clerk, but I did just like very stressfully search through
the smallest, the little thing that that little detail that probably wouldn't have mattered to anybody in the world, but it became
because I was like, it's not a fully black dress. It can't be appropriate for a funeral if it doesn't. It's not fully black, solid black.
Right.
And it's like, it doesn't really matter, you know, as long as you're not wearing like neon. But it depends on the culture too. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's true. Because like a lot of people, in some cultures, they wear like white to a funeral. So they wear like, you know, mostly bright colors that, you know, exude life and shit like that. I do have a question though.
Yeah.
About this scene. I guess because this is me like being a guy and never understanding this. So she didn't like know her actual bra size. So she's like been walking around without her bra size. Like,
Let me take you on a journey. Let me take you on a little journey, friends.
You know where I'm going with this. Okay. You know where I'm going, because I'm just wondering if that's a thing that's like, is that common that women often walk around?
I forget the number.
Okay.
But there is some statistic that like women, like at least like 75% of women are not wearing the right bra size.
Really?
There is a way to measure that you are supposed to, but sizing is wildly inconsistent between stores. I needed new bras
and like styles, right?
Like and styles and fit and everything. You've got, you know, full coverage, balconette, you know, no wire, and so on and so forth. Million options, million ways to do this. Now I needed new bras, like I realized in March. I have only just at the end of April gotten a decent enough batch, and I'm still not 100% sure it's quite the right fit and size, but they're good enough.
Okay.
And your size obviously most of the time changes, you know, throughout your life, weight gain, weight loss, doesn't whatever, you know, hormones, anything. Now, so you're supposed to measure kind of under your actual like boobies. Okay. Like where your rib cage is. Right. And then you measure over your boobies, and the difference between your rib cage and the boob measurement. Yeah, I said boobies.
I just you did it twice. I'm like, why are we calling it a booby?
I don't know. Your tit meat? I don't know.
All right, I'm sorry. I spoke.
Back to boobies. Holy shit.
So aggressive.
So then you take the difference between your rib cage measurement and your boob measurement, and whatever, like, you know, if it's like a 3-inch or 4-inch or whatever the difference is, that's your cup size. So like A is like 1 inch, B 2, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So I followed that methodology and ordered a certain cup size and band size. I got that cup size comically huge, like gaping, did not fit right. And I was like, according to the measurement system that we've all been told our whole lives, and at least in this particular brand of bras, I was not filling out the cup. And so I switched styles because I still wasn't sure, like maybe it's just the style, not quite. So I had to go down. Basically, I kept ordering batches of bras, waiting for them to arrive, try them on. If they didn't fit right, I'd have to return all those and try a new batch in a slightly different size. And now everyone goes, why didn't you order just one and see what would fit? And I was like, because I'd get the one that would fit, and then I'd go back to order more in that style or cut or whatever, and they'd all be gone, and you know it. So the most logical thing was to just order batches of bras. And literally about a month and a half of that bullshit, I have got decentish bras now. Again, I'm still not convinced they fit, and I've actually been losing a little weight, and now I'm worried I just blew a bunch of money on the fucking wrong bra.
But is that a bad reason? You know what I mean? Like that's
no. I mean, I'm like, oh, that's good. I'd rather be losing the weight and get in better shape and whatnot.
Not a terrible,
It's not the worst thing, but I was like, it's like it's like almost $200 in bras, and they're expensive too. That's the other irritating thing. You want like a halfway decent one? They're fucking expensive, and because I have plus size, some of my sizing was limited, and like options are, it's a whole nightmare. But yeah, that's very common. What you see in the episode is you think you're one band size and cup size, and then there's something called sister sizing, which is actually literally what happens to Miranda in the episode. Is they're like,
oh, somebody else measures for you.
Well, no, sister sizing is like the like kind of an adjacent size that's either like a slightly smaller band and a slightly bigger cup. Can, or vice versa, you go a bigger band, smaller cup, and that can give you a better fit than whatever you're technically measured as. Because I've and I went to the physical stores. Lane Bryant went for my plus size bras. Ladies, they're pretty good, but they measured me there and they said I was one size, and that's what I ordered a bunch of, and it was like still the wrong size, and they did it the way you're supposed to do it. Now it's a little tricky because they are doing it over clothes.
Sure.
But even so, it's not that. I'm not wearing 4 inches of clothes.
Right, yeah, like we're talking like a half quarter inch.
A quarter inch of material is the difference between being like a D or a C, and it still doesn't make any fucking sense. So yes, I empathize with the whole bra situation, because I was like, oh my god, I literally spent a month shopping for bras.
That's crazy.
And I dropped 14 pounds within that month. I'm like, fuck, these bras are gonna fit if I keep this up. Oh well, I think it's a good problem to have, like you said.
No, it's like I said, that's not a bad problem to have, but
it
definitely does seem frustrating to like. Also, like that has to be wild to you too, because like of course, like as you get older, when you first start wearing bras, and as you get older and start, growing taller and getting bigger, it changes. But like, after like, you would think after like maybe like 25, 26, your bra size would be the same for the rest, but apparently not. So
no, and of course, between brands, who knows?
Right.
You could, if she's a 36A and like Victoria's Secret, she could be like something else in Macy's bras or what, Nordstrom bras or whatever. Like, there's no guarantee you're the same size across any brand of clothing, with bras in particular. And then I know this happens to guys a little, but for women, it's especially irritating because you can be one size in one brand and another size in another brand, depending on how they kind of vanity size things for people or whatnot. And it's the most like, well, even for guys, because I was talking to a coworker yesterday, and he was like, I'm usually like a medium in most stuff, but I go to a place like Zara or this or that, and suddenly I'm like an extra large. And he's like, how does that even work?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only time we have to deal with anything like that, is like finding like a decent pair of pants. Different.
Because you get measurements, right? Like waist and length.
Yeah, we know like usually what, but at a certain age, and again, and the thing too is like, for the most part, it's pretty standard for us. Like if you know your waist and your length, you're probably gonna find stuff that's pretty fittable. But the only time it really messes with us is like, yes, the brand, because sometimes like Zara was like a European brand, so those sizes are gonna be different, and then also weight gain. Yeah, that's really the only two factors that changes our waist size. But like if we maintain our weight across the board, for the most part, like I could probably go online right now and order a bunch of pants, as long as it's not from China or Europe, I'm pretty much okay.
I hate you. I hate you so fucking much.
But I'm like you though, in that sense. I don't particularly like ordering. Like I can order like a shirt online, because 9 times out of 10, like I said, unless it's from China, I just do a large. Pretty much fits me. Even if it's like a little too big, it's fine. After I wash it a couple of times, it kind of starts to fit a little bit. But I don't like buying pants online. I will go to a store to try on pants, because again, between different brands, and you also never know, because like you can get the size and it can fit, but it can also look like shit on. Period. You know what I mean? So
I do love one last fashion sidebar, and then we'll get back to the actual episode. I am a fan of the Stitch Fix, the like subscription thing, where and you can select how often they send you stuff. Not the shirt I'm wearing right now, but honest to God, I'd say 80% of my closet is Stitch Fix, just slowly over time. And surprisingly, they maintain sizing pretty well across all the random brands they send you. And I love their system, and please sponsor us. I will gladly take that.
Yeah, I'm not a customer Stitch Fix, so if you want somebody to model some clothes for you, I mean.
Oh, I am the biggest like Stitch Fix hype person. Anytime people are like, "Oh, I hate shopping for clothes," I'm like, "Can I interest you in Stitch Fix?" It's like they summon me out of nowhere.
Boy, do I have a solution for you.
I literally pop up. I'm like, "It's funny you should say that." Can I talk to you about an interesting opportunity?
I had that same problem, and then I got Stitch Fix. Yeah.
But anywho, Miranda succeeds to get in the bra.
Yes.
So put that on hold for now. And meanwhile, Carrie comes home from hanging out with Charlotte and prepping for the funeral. And Aiden got her a new computer. And it's one of those fun, colorful Mac laptops that I desperately miss.
I know, I do miss those.
It
wasn't like the what do you call it? The desktop. It was the laptop.
Well, she had the laptop with the little handle and everything. Yeah, love it. Always wanted one. We actually got my grandpa for his 80th birthday a Mac desktop, and my one aunt picked raspberry pink to be funny because he's like old. He didn't care. Yeah, but it was funny.
He's like, I'm 80. I don't give a fuck at this point. But
yeah, he didn't care. And he did use that, and it was so funny. But he like,
why did they stop making those? Those were fun. Bring them back. Bring them back.
So if you're watching the video, I have pink headphones on actually, and my laptop case is like the little shell thing I put on the outside of it is teal. Tech does not have to be gray,
right? Or
black or silver or whatever. I love even if it's like a utilitarian thing, I love it when it comes in a fun color, and I'll order it in the fun color every time. I have so many pink tech things. People think pink's my favorite color, and I'm like, no, I just honestly like ordering it in a fun color for no real reason other than it's just A, I know it's mine a little more easily than most, and B, it's just fun. Yeah, I miss.
I don't know why they strayed away from the color. Maybe it was like a cost thing or something. But I remember those last time. Yeah, because those. We had those in school. We had them in class. Like they, had like yellow, green, and the blues and the red. Like that was the shit.
Bring back the fun Mac colors.
Bring back the colors.
Or any tech color. Bring back fun colors in tech.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There's no need for it to be dull.
Like iPhones shouldn't be the only ones that have different colors.
Yeah, I actually have a purple iPhone. I didn't even particularly
get that at all.
I didn't even particularly want a purple iPhone, but it was the only one that was available in store that day, and I wanted to finish upgrading the phone that day. And they were like, they're pretty highly coveted. I was like, I'm putting the case on it. I really don't care what color the phone is.
Right.
I was like, it doesn't really matter.
At the end of the day, I'm just doing this. Yeah.
I'm just trying to go on Twitter. But so anyway, he gets Carrie the laptop and a backup drive and everything like that. And this is where she's like, I have a system. And she's like, I'm not ready for a new computer yet. And he's irritated, and he's like, this is the metaphor we were talking about earlier. He talks about you're not really letting me into your life with things like the computer and the funeral. And she's like, I'm used to taking care of myself, and I've been doing it for a long time, and that's just how I do things. I would be thrilled if someone else would take care of my shit for once. I am so fucking tired. I had a cold in the last few episodes, you guys noticed?
Yeah,
I would have killed to have somebody else just fucking take care of some of my shit around this apartment for me. Just do nice. I took the love language quiz again recently because I keep forgetting what my love language is.
Hilarious.
It's acts of service. Shocker. I just want someone else, because I've been taking care, I have loving parents and supportive parents and good friends, but I'm taking care of most of my own shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I would love for someone else to deal with it for once.
Dude, it is. I will say it is nice to have that from time to time. Because I understand where she's coming from, because I
do too. Yeah.
As a person who, as an adult, especially here in LA, you have to low key become independent, because you have friends like that, but they're just as busy, and they're just as we're going through the rat race as well too. So like they really can't like depend on anybody to help you with like little things like that. And it's mostly on you. So you kind of get used to that. So I kind of understand the pushback of that, because like, yes, it does make you feel a little bit vulnerable to like depend on somebody, but it is nice to have it from time to time. Let's be honest.
For sure.
It definitely is. Like, I'm definitely glad I got a girl from time to time to do like go to the grocery store and pick, or like, you know, when she's on her way over, I can be like, hey, can you pick up this fucking coconut milk or some shit like
whatever,
that? Like whatever.
Like I had to clean my apartment this like last weekend. Obviously I clean it regularly and stuff like that, but it was a little extra, you know, work because I wasn't able to clean or tidy up as much when I was sick for like the 2 weeks. I basically had this nasty cold. And I was like, you know, vacuuming or whatever and doing all this shit. I was like, this wouldn't be as irritating if someone had like helped me out with this like the week before, even if they didn't like deep clean, but just ran a vacuum around and wiped some shit down, and I'd like be back to square one, and I would happily do this. But I was like, motherfucker, like it's cranky cleaning.
No, I do shit because that's what I do that. I do that for like my lady all the time. Like, you know, sometimes I'll just like today I was at her place, and I was just like, I'm gonna wash the dishes for her.
Love
so
it.
She don't have to come home.
Fuck yes.
That, you know what I mean? Like,
fuck yes.
Like, and it took me a while too. Like, it was a lot of dishes. Like, it took me like 30 minutes to wash them all. But
did you feel super emasculated when you did a simple chore?
Not at all. I felt more.
Of course not, because it's normal.
I was like, no, I felt more masculine. I was like, look what I just did for my girl. I'm a good.
Fuck yeah.
No. Stuff like that doesn't like make me feel emasculated. Like that's awesome.
Because it fucking shouldn't.
No. Because guess what? I'm hoping that she'll do that for me one day when I don't feel like doing some shit. Like if she's over here when I'm gone to work or some shit like that, and like there's stuff that needs to be clean. Like I hope that I don't have to come back to it. It's nice.
Or like cook something, fucking whatever. But anyway,
you don't have to clean. Like cooking would be great. I would love to just come home to a fucking meal. Like I'll clean the dishes after the meal. Like I don't give a fuck. But it's like one less thing I have to worry about. Like after a long day, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
So they argue. Aiden even leaves his keys. Meanwhile, Carrie goes back to the tech place. They can't recover anything from the computer.
They sure were wingdings.
Fucking wingdings.
It was fucking wingdings. I was like, holy shit, wingdings been around since the fucking early 2000s.
I'll never understand why that was a font, but God love it. Love you, wingdings.
I think there was some just tech there that just threw that in just to fuck with people. Honestly.
I think
that's all that is. It's just like a little nudge for people. Like if you don't know tech, you don't know what this is, and it'll fuck with you.
Yeah. So and he goes like, oh, you know, we could do this. He's like, but you need to have a backup system. Get it? Do you get it? Says she needs a backup system, not just technologically, but maybe with people too. Do you get it? Are you clear on what they're trying to tell you about Carrie as a character in this scene? I hope so. It felt a little unclear for a second, but then, you know.
Did it?
The more you think about it.
Did it go over your head a little bit?
Almost. And then I went, whoop, and I caught it with my hand. And I was like, oh, I got it. I caught the fucking zip drive in my hand. I went, oh, backup. Like, back up your files, but also you need backup in your life. Got it.
Yes.
I mean,
100% people. Yes, 100. No, but that's the thing too. Is like that's in this episode, kind of. I did get where you're coming from. It actually, now that we're talking about it more, I'm seeing more things, because like that idea. Like, yes, it was like very on the nose and like not subtle at all. But like that is a thing, because especially nowadays, like there's such a like disdain for depending on somebody in our society. Like people think like you're weak or like you ain't shit, like especially when it comes to like a woman depending on a man. Like it's like it's looked down upon, but it's like that's what we do as human beings. Like that's our nature. We like that's how we survived as human beings. For like since the dawn of time, we depended on each other. That's what a fucking tribe is. That's like people depending on each other. Like there would be people literally human beings would be extinct if we didn't depend on each other. We have to. Like that's the way
we're a communal creature. We're not
absolutely. No, the fact that we like people, you can go into like sincere, even introverts have to have some kind of human interaction because like that's in our body. That's our survival instinct. We depend on each other.
Like, and that's why for so many people the pandemic was so hard
Yes.
mentally because you had to be cut off if you were doing it right. You
Right.
had to be cut off from
Yeah, that's true.
from people,
Asterisk.
asterisk on everybody following that rule.
Right.
But it was, it was very isolating, and we are not, as much as people are like, I'm, especially in this country, it's like, I'm a lone wolf, I'm an independent being, blah 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 blah. Yeah. It's like, no, wolves are in packs for a reason. Like, they work as a group, as a unit, to get their meal and survive. And it's like you said, humans are the same way. We are, communal creatures.
There is one species of wolf that is that's actually a lone wolf, but they actually have very shorter lifespans than any other.
That's right. Yeah, I just read something about that. It's like,
so maybe that tells you something. Everybody's like, well, I can be the gray wolf or whatever. It's like, no, you can't, because they die quickly too, by the way.
Yeah, they have a short.
They don't have a community to build on.
Yeah. And the whole alpha beta thing's a myth too, by the way. That's incorrect science, just FYI.
Yep.
But anyway, the day of the funeral comes, and Carrie calls Aiden, and they kind of apologize. And she's like, it's hard. He's like, what do you think will happen? I'm just trying to help. And she's like, I'm scared of you helping and getting too used to it. And then, basically scared of that help going away, which I get too.
I get that.
It's a legit fear, but like you've said, you have to, if this is your partner and you're going to trust them, you have to trust that they'll be.
Yeah, because that's the thing too, is like, if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're keeping them at arm's distance the entire time, then that's where they always will be. And like, here's the thing, you think that means that you're going to protect yourself when they go away, but like, you're going to realize it's going to hurt you more, because you realize it's your fault that they are gone, because you kept them at that distance. You didn't allow them to get closer, therefore they didn't need to stay around, because it's like, they didn't need you.
Yeah. So they get to the funeral, and this is irrelevant to any of the proceedings. I really like this look on Carrie. I liked the hairstyle with the like long ribbon and the shawl. It just looked really nice, and I know that's not important to the funeral.
They always put, like, she's the fashion, like, that's.
But this is also this episode. What the very first outfit we see her in is one of the most reviled outfits. She's in the little shorts, tube top, like a long coat and newsboy cap. It is one of the worst outfits Carrie's ever been in, but luckily she's not in it too long. But anyway, back to the funeral. So the girls are all there. Samantha's still mad about the orgasm, and they finally see Miranda, and they give her hugs and reassurances. And Samantha's hilarious. She goes, "You look great." And Charlotte's like, "You look great? That's not what I told you to say."
Yeah, you maybe didn't tell her to say that. Okay, however, maybe I'm just stupid. Was that a bad thing to say necessarily?
I think so. I think it's. I don't think it's bad. I think it's very in character for Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. Yeah, it makes sense.
And
yeah,
it. I think it could be taken like as like, you look okay. Like you look like you're doing okay. Like emotionally maybe, but that's kind of a stretch. It's just nice to compliment people even in a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would bring me some comfort, you know what I mean? Like, hell, like, especially, Miranda has been like probably crying her eyes out for the last 48 hours, and it's like, hey, you look great. Like, you don't look
and frankly, and you know this, I know this, humor of any kind is like the ultimate fixer.
Absolutely. At least bring some levity to this.
I mean, maybe fixer, but like, actually in therapy, my therapist said like dealing with things with humor is like kind of the highest functioning way of dealing with traumatic things. And I'll always remember this story. So when Christopher Reeve fell off the horse and became paralyzed, he had always been close friends with Robin Williams. Like, they had been at Juilliard together, and they're super tight buddies.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And he said when he was in the hospital and kind of first realizing like, oh my God, I'm never going to walk again or move again, all those horrible things, he said Robin Williams came in and like immediately started just like fucking around in the hospital room and making him laugh. And it was the first time he'd felt like anything other than sadness. And it was like the ultimate mood lifter.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's the kind of thing sometimes you need in like the darkest of situations, is like something to just break that tension, and then you can like process it how you need to, because sometimes you're just stuck in one mode and you're like, don't know what to do. And if someone can make you laugh and get you out of it, it's all the better for it.
Well, it's also too because a lot of people think that like joking is not acknowledging the situation, but like that's can be further from the truth, because any good comedy starts in truth and we derive the humor out of the truth that's already there. So like her comment about, hey, you look great, it's like that derived from the idea that like there's a lot of bad going around, like you know, like crying and sadness and shit like that. It's like, well, in spite of everything that's been happening to you, you still look great. Yeah, it's not a bad. That's why I was like, you know, they all jumped down her throat, but I was like, was that really that bad? Maybe I'm just a stupid guy. But also, I also have to like take it with a grain of salt, because I'm like, I am a comedian, so like, in my eyes, there's always room. There's always room for humor. Like at any given time, like. Matter.
I mean, you could argue, you know, some of the jokes I've made about my situation with cancer treatment and stuff. It's, you know, not inappropriate, but you know, it's a little dark, it's a little twisted. But I didn't want to dwell in a place of like, woe is me. I was like, I want to on back to.
I guarantee you that attitude helped you get through most of it. Like it probably helped your body like fight it more, because you were adding like endorphins and shit into your body. It was like humor and happiness.
Anyway, so Miranda though says, you know, she actually is kind of grateful for that compliment. It's funny that you're like, was it insensitive? I think it helped her, because she was saying that her family was worried about her being alone, because they had to
not married and shit.
And she would have to walk alone back down the aisle once they're walking the coffin out. And like she jokes in that situation, that's the real tragedy, is the single 35-year-old woman following the coffin out of the funeral. It's like, that like, you know, a person is dead, but oh no, she's single. Like,
that's worse than death. Like,
worse than death. Put her. Remember, you got to float her off the island of Manhattan if she gets to 36 before she gets married. So then the funeral's going, and of course they're whispering. But the priest gets the family tree wrong and keeps saying Miranda's brother's name, and he's like John and his wife Miranda, and she's like, that makes it sound like I'm married to my brother.
He did it like 3 times in the speech, bro. He was like not getting it at all.
But then we get the great moment, like there's people crying next to Samantha, and that kind of finally breaks her like emotional mental block about the whole situation. And she makes eye contact with Miranda and just mouths, "I'm sorry," kind of through tears. And Miranda's like, "Thank you." And that's like such a real friendship moment to me, where it's like, they don't have to say it directly. They can almost like psychically tell each other, not quite, you know, because she does mouth the words, but I've just loved that moment, because I think just writing wise, it's so in character with Samantha and just fits perfectly, because it's only a moment for her and Miranda. The other girls don't really notice that it's happening, and I just like that connection so much in that moment.
And also too, like in that moment, it was authentic, you know what I mean? Because that was kind of what, you know, Samantha's issue was with it. Like she didn't feel like she could say the right thing or like be authentic with it. And even though, you know, Charlotte gave her things that she could say, she was like, it didn't feel authentic. And that moment was authentic, and she could say, I'm sorry, because it actually, she could feel that sorrow for Miranda. It made sense right there in that moment.
And it's so spot on. So then they are walking the coffin down the aisle, and Miranda's kind of handling it, and then she finally starts to crack. And this is a great Carrie moment, because Carrie jumps up to her side and holds Miranda up as they go. And this is such an interesting moment too. So they talk about the help you ask for, the help you don't, which in this case is Carrie jumping up, and the help that just shows up without, you know, saying a word. And it's Aiden and Steve are at the funeral.
Like that.
And they just show up. And so this, for a lot of people, seals the deal with Steve as like a guy for Miranda. I still don't love Steve as a character, but I cannot knock him, obviously, in this moment at all.
You can't knock him because 2 reasons. One, he didn't have to show up. 2, actually showed kind of him like that he's maturing. I was like, he's like clearly growing up. So like, all right. You know? Again, I feel you, because I'm like, you got a lot more maturing to do before I'm on your side again. But like, give you points for being there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if he was only there to support Aiden, still, you're there. Like
it's like just such a solid like guy supporter, or not guy, but just solid supporter thing. But it's just nice to see guys do this kind of like emotional thing, frankly, because they don't, you know, guys are forced so often to hold emotions or hide them, or you know, or not acknowledge them in any way. And so the fact that you get them there, and obviously for a lot of people this continues to seal the deal for Aiden being the best guy ever, because it's his girlfriend's friend's mom's funeral.
Right.
That's a pretty far links.
But here's the thing: is that really out of character? I mean,
but it's not out of character. Last
episode, he fucking showed up to Miranda's apartment while her back was broken, and like helped her out. He didn't have to do none of that.
He's like he's made a better boyfriend to Miranda in some cases than he is to Carrie.
Just saying. That dude, he's just too good.
But yeah, that moment when you see the two guys in the church, that really melts a lot of hearts every time, and it gets me too. I'm like, God, that's nice. That's like you know you hope,
because it's one of those things where like when somebody does something like that for you, like you didn't ask, you didn't expect it, but they were just there for you. It just kind of lets you feel, for lack of cornier words, seen. Like it's like, all right, you see me, like you knew I didn't ask for help, but like you knew I needed it, and you were just there, and you didn't like make a spectacle, because he didn't come to sit next to them or nothing like that, like make a big deal of it. They were just in the back. It was like, look, we're here if you need us, and if not, we'll take the train and go right back to New York.
Yeah, and in Carrie and Aiden's case too, like relationship wise, it's sort of him saying like, I understand why you're pushing me away or why you're keeping me at arm's length, but just so you know, I'm still this person. I'm still the type of person who will do things for you that you either need, want, or maybe don't even know you need or want. You know, I'm looking out for you. I've got your back kind of no matter what.
See, that's why I fuck with Aiden, because low-key, like his love language is low-key my love language. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of shit that I do when I'm with somebody. It's like, I know you don't need me to do this, but like I'm gonna do it for you anyway, because I know it's just gonna make your life a little bit easier. Just a little bit. And little things add up to big things in the future. It always does.
So we wrap up with just one more clarification on the backup, breathe, and reboot and compatibility thing. You turn to people for backup, and sometimes you turn to a zip drive to do it, and sometimes your boyfriend can be a zip drive. The end.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's the theme song.
Oh, like if they don't know by now,
I hope. Oh my God.
Show for get out of here. Like, we're not only going to talk about Sex in the City, but we're clearly been talking about it, you know, for the last couple of seasons. Like
closing in on 2 years in December.
Get on board, baby. Like,
get without the train. But yeah, so I just that's the episode. That's just one of my favorites. Like I said, everything just kind of really fires on all cylinders for me, character wise, story wise, comedy wise. That it's just like sorry, my cat is shredding the primary election like temporary ballot, the voter information guide thing we got for here in California.
He's like, you're not voting.
He's like, I didn't know you were a libertarian, and I'm really upset. I don't know what websites you've been going on, my friend, but
hey, he's a black cat. Most black people are. At least they fucking should be. Goddamn. That is the weird thing. I do think like you would think that more black people would be libertarian, just in history alone. Like it would make the most sense.
I wouldn't 100% blame you. I don't much care for the libertarian point of view.
No, me either. I'm not like into it, but like it makes sense if you know.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he's like, you don't need this. I'm trying to teach
like,
you. Live like me. Yeah, live like me. You'll be happy.
Both parties are the same. No, bad cat.
Hell yeah.
I don't think there should be taxes. Shut the fuck up, cat.
Like, I mean, I'm just saying. He's like, look at it up. I'm just saying. Should be.
Like, I'm just saying.
I don't pay taxes. Look how happy I am. I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course you don't pay taxes. You're a fucking cat. I actually saw a tweet that was like, libertarians are like house cats. They think they don't need a system that they don't realize they're benefiting from. Sorry, and last jab at libertarians, but there is an article that is totally fascinating about a town in New Hampshire that got overtaken by like libertarian people, and they voted out basically the like regular government and just sort of installed this like libertarian sort of mini society.
Yeah.
And everybody did their own thing, and then it got overtaken by bears. And you know how it got overtaken by bears? Because there were no rules or restrictions, or there were, but like no one followed them or whatever, about like, hey, don't leave garbage out for bears. That's bad. You invite too many bears, they get too comfortable. And then so many people were like, you can't tell me what to do. I don't recognize these rules or restrictions, and I don't care. I don't feel like following them. I don't believe in them, so I'm not doing them. And then this town literally fucking got overrun by bear.
Yeah, fucking Yogi Bear shows up ready for a picnic basket.
Yeah, but Yogi Bear claws showed up.
Yeah,
so, sorry to get all political on one of my favorite episodes of the Sex and the City series, but still, it was funny, so it's all good. All love and respect to everybody, except not really. But yeah, it's such a good episode. It's so fun.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't write many notes because at first I thought I was like, oh, there's not much going on in the episode, but I think I was actually, now that we talked about it, I think I was just too engaged to like really write down notes, because it wasn't like a lot of funny moments or things to really remark on. It was just things that it's just like a good solid.
I was gonna say, I think the pacing is so perfect in it too, and that's why because like other episodes,
I wasn't like bored or like waiting for something else to happen, or like, let's move to the next storyline. Like everybody's story was just kind of
all really meshed together. It's a good episode.
Absolutely.
But speaking of good episodes, you can find more about us on Instagram and Twitter. If the easiest way to find us is to go to Instagram at Show Me What Podcast. That'll take you to our Twitter and our Facebook and our YouTube, which, by the way, I think, thank you to everyone who watched the most recent YouTube episode. For the record, she's not topless in the thumbnail. It's just a very flesh-toned bra.
You think that's why we got a bunch.
I think it's a little why it's doing numbers. It's an excellent episode of the show, but it is also just a thumbnail. So.
You might be right. Hey, but you know what? I think that episode got us another listener, because we are 117 now.
Hell yeah! Welcome aboard.
We got a new subscriber, baby. What's up?
Welcome aboard. And you can find me and my bullshit on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Elizabeth Movies. Where can they find you and your bullshit, Chris?
You can find me in my bullshit all platforms at Christopher T. Mack. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also, if you're looking for any show dates of mine, you can go to my website. It's on my Instagram. Just click it in the bio, and then I have all my show dates. I got to update that tomorrow because I got a few shows coming up this month that I need to put up there.
Heck yeah.
And I'll probably be advertising on the next episode because it's like a little too soon. Kind of towards the. Actually. Nope, I should have advertised it on the last episode. Never mind. By the time this episode comes out, the show will be over. So never mind.
Well, you're a loss, but if you go to the website, you can keep track of when he's doing shows.
Website. Exactly. Go to my Instagram. If I go to the website, and boom, you'll see all my shows. Boom, boom, boom.
Alrighty, that's it for us. Alrighty, little Trey.
Alrighty,
channeling Trey even when he's not here.
Make sure. We forgot.
Arlo Australia candles. Yes.
Get your candles, reed diffusers, all that good stuff.
Etsy, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Promo code Show Me Miss. Save a little money on some genuinely great smelling stuff. Yes. Sorry, I moved the candle to a different location, so I don't have it on hand to show off like I normally do.
It don't even matter because the shit is good. Period.
It's good.
Guys. Like we're not like it's not.
We don't have to give you the hard sell on these anymore because they're just good. You'll just.
It's just good. Trust me.
Just good shit.
They last long. They burn well. They smell fantastic. Trust me.
Oh. Ooh, so fresh.
Anzac biscuit. That's the best one if you ask me. That's the jam.
But until next time, we'll see you later.